Lads, lasses, and all of God's masses, welcome back. My legal name is C28. Y estoy cansado. Estoy muy cansado, pero no puedo dormir, así let's shoot the video. So this week had some pretty fun things happen in critical listening. I'm going to mostly just disregard everything that happens in physical science because I am still trying to navigate doing online courses. At least ones that are a little bit more than just writing essays every week. So yeah, we're just going to not touch on it a whole lot. So critical listening, what have we got going on? Well, first part of this week was resonance. Second part was distortion. So let's get into it. What is resonance? So I kind of touched on it briefly in the last video log. We like briefly touched on it where I didn't know how to describe it. But now I think I can give you a decent explanation. Essentially, it is the natural multiple of a fundamental frequency within a system. So, sum that all up, your fundamental is what? Your fundamental is the base original sound that a thing makes. So think of my voice. My voice actually is a fundamental. And again, I'm going to hate doing this, but the fundamental of my voice is up at around 100 or so hertz. Pretty low. So I don't know why I said up and around. But there. That frequency was it. And then everything after that, as in this stuff, which now my voice sounds slightly higher in pitch maybe, are the harmonics. So I think that kind of explains it. And your harmonics cannot exist without the fundamental. So, like the frequency band right here, this one could never exist without this one. However, this one right here could exist without. The point is, there are two types of harmonics. You have your even order and your odd order harmonics. They arise in different ways, but essentially it comes from symmetric and asymmetric distortion. What that means is the polarity of your signal, the uppy bit versus the downy bit, are they both equally augmented when you distort them? Are they equally distorted? So say if you only have the uppy bit of your waveform, the compression, if only that uppy bit is altered, then you're going to have some even order harmonics arise from that, which, because that's pretty strange, doesn't happen very often, definitely not in nature, you don't really get those in nature. You tend to only get odd or odd and even harmonics, but almost never, pretty much never, just even order harmonics. So, and when it is symmetric, you get odd order harmonics. I can't go into more detail. Legally. Just kidding, no. I actually just don't know how to explain it further. But I would like to explain it further. I just don't know how to. I spent like ages in the car with the R1, just like asking questions. And yeah, it could not elaborate. So after doing some extra research, that's the conclusion I've arrived at, as like that's the baseline of how you get those harmonics. But you can also get them from just distortion. So using something like a compressor, you can get some harmonics in there. So if I were to compress my voice like this, now my voice is super compressed. I'm going to hopefully level out the signal so it didn't just blow your eardrums, but you hear a lot more stuff there. It sounds maybe a little bit more sort of like crunchy. That sounded especially crunchy, but we can turn that off now. But you get the idea. And you can do the same thing with just the Bit Crusher plugin in Logic, which actually we did today in the lab, but I think that pretty much covers it. I'm going to open the notes real quick, just to make sure I didn't really miss anything, but that's the majority of the information that you need to know. Yeah, not really a whole lot else. There are a thing called partials, which are partial multiples of your fundamental frequency. So, for example, if your fundamental frequency is, say, 20 hertz, your even order harmonics are going to follow after that in multiples of 2. So you get 2 away from that, you're going to go from 20 to 40 hertz. And then you go from 40 to 60 hertz. And you keep going. And you can have your odd order harmonics as well. So they would take place just after that. So after your 20, you might have your 30. So, or sorry, after your 40, you might have something else. So 50 hertz. So 20, 40, and then goes to 50, and then it keeps going. It doesn't ever start with your fundamental and then a odd multiple and then an even multiple. It always go odd, even, odd, even, odd, and it keeps going like that. But it can skip. So like, while this might sound confusing, it can skip the second order harmonic, but the second order harmonic is always even because 2. You're never going to have your second order harmonic be even. It's actually your third order harmonic in that case, and it's all even orders, but it's the second one. This explanation doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Editor, can you give me like a very concise, brief explanation that doesn't take up the entire screen like this? Yeah, it probably had to take up the entire screen. Unless it's a tiny bit of text, in which case, okay. Also, sorry for making you do editing, because I know, like, yeah. Can't say at all. Yeah. But anyway, point is that partials, they can exist between those bits. So you can have extra little fun things. Formants are one of those fun little things. So formants are essentially the way you understand what vowels are. So when I say all those vowel things, you understand what they are because of the formants. The second I get rid of those, it's a lot more difficult to determine. So you can kind of still figure out what it is, some things that change. But for the most part, a lot of those identifiable features, once you get rid of them and those high-end frequencies, it's a little bit more difficult to figure out what's happening. I really hope I'm correct in the technical, the theoretical, mathematical part of this, because otherwise I just completely lied to you when you heard it. And you're like, nah, C2, I completely heard what you said. But I trust the science that what I have in my head mathematically checks, and it is difficult to determine what those vowels were. Hey, so I just looked at the lecture notes, and I don't know where I was getting my information from in my head, but I had a false memory. So it looks like the formants of the human voice typically occur at 500, which is pretty low in the mids, up to, well, I guess it just keeps going. But those higher ones are important. So maybe it was more difficult to understand. Honestly, now that I'm thinking of it, I think it didn't change it at all. I think there's very little, if anything, that really changed. Huh. I'm gonna love knowing that, editing all that through just so that like it's contextually, it like makes sense. Like me not saying this thing you're hearing now and then nothing happens. I still have to edit it so that way you hear it. All for it to just show that I was wrong. Yeah, I guess I can't really filter out the formants. But you can shift them and then you get funky things. So like if you shift the formants up, I can take the formants and go, all right, let's crank those
up. Now we get these formants going like this, and then I can crank them down. And we go,
oh, look, the formants are now going like this.
And they can bring them back up to normal. So that's a fun thing. There are a bunch of fun little tiny details we went into for this lecture, but I'm not going to dive into them because I don't think that they're super needed for this video log. Little things on like how the tempered scale is determined. The, what would you say? Duodectic root of 2. We'll just go with layman's terms. 12th root of 2. I just don't like saying it that way because I know technically is a more mathematically correct way to say it. Like if you have the 5th root of 2, it's the quintic root of 2. But whatever. But anyway, that's the amount you go up in hertz every half step for the equal tempered scale. And in fact, Logic actually lets you change the temperament of your MIDI stuff. So you can choose a different scale if you want, which is pretty cool. But I won't go into that. What I will go over is the technical ear training. So I don't know if I actually mentioned this before, so I'm going to go over all 4. But we have technical ear trainings, which are these little exercises. In fact, I have one due at the end of the week. So I'll probably go work on that tonight or tomorrow and edit this video later. I'll probably have this video post on Monday. I don't know. Hopefully I can have it post by Saturday or something like that. We'll see. Either way, control voltages, you'll get early access, at least a day before or something like that, hopefully. But technical ear training 1, was understanding filters. It's pretty straightforward. So we just had pink noise playing through the system, and this little website, you have a question, which is filtered pink noise, and then you have to answer by creating the exact same parameters that led to that filtered pink noise with 100% accuracy. So kind of sounds difficult, but the thing is that there are strict snap to parameters. So it's not like it's a gradient scale. It's like, oh my goodness, you fool. You set the cutoff at like 80 hertz. It was actually 80.005 hertz. Ha, you're so not intelligent auditorially, audio-wise sound thing. So it's a lot easier. I think it's plus or minus 12 dB or plus 0. And then you can change the Q from 1 to 2, which is not even like a decibels per octave thing, just like a big Q, small Q. And then you can change the frequency that's attenuated or amplified. I think there are maybe, let's go at 9. No, 8. I feel like 8's a correct answer. Now I feel like it's 10. Somewhere between 8 and 10 frequencies to pick from, and then all those other parameters, and then you just recreate it. So lots of different things you can get. And then you get, just 25 questions of that. Screenshot, preview did it. Don't cheat by editing the HTML code. Forget I said that. And you're good to go. The second one was on reverb. So it was the same sort of deal. We had the same sort of parameters. Well, not the same parameters, but the same constraints to the parameters, just very large increments you're changing and small set of things to choose from. And we're doing it with reverb. So you have your wet level, you have your dry level, you have the pre-delay, and then you have your decay time. I think those are the parameters. And then you drag in an audio file. It was just like a block hit, like a sort of thing. And with that block hit, they add reverb. So it goes from a to a. Ooh, very cool. And obviously you'd have a big array of different options of how you could change that up, making it somewhat difficult. And it was somewhat difficult. I think I spent maybe an hour on this one because I got so many things right. And then on the 22nd question, I got it wrong. And perfectionist me, I'm like, I will not accept anything but a 100%. So I went ahead and did the whole thing again very carefully. I got 100%. So it's good. The third technical ear training is on, what the heck was it on? The third technical ear training module was on EQ again, but instead of noise, it was a song sample, which was, oh my goodness, much harder to do. Wow. Oh, wow. Was that hard? I think that took me maybe 3.5 hours to get 100%. My first initial go through, I didn't want to reset after I got my first fault at like 7. I wanted to see, okay, realistically, how much do I need to focus on this? What am I going to get if I did go all the way to 25? I got like 70%, which I was miffed about. I was like, no way, not keeping that. So instead I went for a good 3-hour session, which after quite a few attempts, I eventually got that 100 and I partied. By that, I mean, I didn't cry myself to sleep due to stress and wake up on the couch. In actuality, no, I don't actually remember what I did, but I was pretty happy to be done with that. So all that brings us to lecture 4, which happened today, which, as I told you, distortion. That was the topic. We started off by talking about how the atmosphere actually has a ceiling. There's a max dB for the atmosphere before the atmosphere starts clipping. This is shown off in many different situations, such as a rocket going off. So think about SpaceX having like a big rocket going up. Well, it doesn't just go, it goes like, I don't know, I can't replicate it, but it's like a bunch of popping and it sounds like digital distortion, but it's like happening analog, organic at that, not just analog, but organic in real space. And that max level is about 100,000 pascals, which converts to, I think, what was that, 190 something? 193.9794 decibels SPL. At that point, you like clip, like you can't go anymore. you clip the atmosphere. But for the longest sustain, it's a little bit different. So that's actually for the longest instantaneous, like peak. That's the highest peak you can possibly get. But there is a sustain level, which is a little bit different, tiny bit lower at a little under 71,000 pascals or 191 decibels SPL. Sound pressure level, just in case we're not tracking that. I just realized I didn't go over the lab for the last lecture, but honestly, I think I might just ignore the labs because I don't think it's very important for me to describe the labs in this class. I'll just say they reinforce what's taught in lecture, but there's not really a whole need to go into it. Plus, saves me on editing time, which is nice. So back to this. Really cool concept known as acoustic dispersion. So dispersion essentially means breaking the audio into its different components. That's not filtering in space. It's filtering in time. So think about this. Have you ever seen like Skywalker sound? How they make the laser sounds for Star Wars? Basically just hitting a slink and it goes pyum, pyum. Well, what is that pyum, pyum sound? That pyum, pyum sound is the high frequencies arriving before the low frequencies. It's separating out your frequency content in time. And it sounds bizarre. I don't have a plugin that does this, so unfortunate. In fact, I might have a plugin that does this. I just don't know how to do it. Because I do have Portal by Output, which I just downloaded today because I was like, I need a granular processor. I got this brilliant machine here, and I've not been doing a whole lot of fun stuff with it. So let's do more fun stuff with it. I mean, I've been doing some fun stuff, but just not as of recently. I need to spark creativity again. So I bought the plugin, and oh my goodness, it's so good. Put a little short up just before shooting this, showing off like granular processing. Oh, it's so good. Overall, this lecture just talked about how distortion is your signal being changed. Technically, reverb is distortion, but not when you add it. It's like when you just the wet is distortion. When you add it, you're now doing like malting stuff. But point is, changing your signal is distortion. That's it. That's the gist of it. There are different types of things you can do and call that other types of distortion. The main thing that you understand, I'd imagine, as distortion is amplification of your overall signal, giving you harmonic distortion, giving you that really fuzzy characteristic. So if I just compress the life out of my voice right now, and this is going to sound disgusting. I'm going to go haywire with the compressor. We're going to turn this up. You ready? You ready? Like this. So now my voice is an absolute mess. It is at a sustained level that is awful. Honestly, it's terrible. Yeah, let's get rid of that. So we're back to regular sound, and wow, you see what I mean? So that was taking it to the max. Realistically, if you were to do it, you do it. I think I did it before, but you do it something more like this, where it's a nice, it works well for your signal. It's not this awful, terrible sounding thing. But I already have a compressor on my voice. So that's why, like, if I speak really quietly, it doesn't sound like it's real quiet. And then if I speak really loudly, it doesn't actually sound like it's a whole lot different. The frequency content changes, but I do have a compressor on here to make my voice kind of stable. But then, of course, adding the other one on there as well. I don't know if I turned the one that we have on off earlier from the new How Do I Do Words. Anyway, it's off now. Noise was another concept that we touched on. Basically just things you don't want in the signal, or things generated from outside of what you're trying to record, or what you're trying to record making sounds you don't want, which is also, I guess, just touching on unwanted signal. I suppose I may as well touch on like 4 different types of noise that we talked about. These are pretty brief, but first up, source noise, which is any noise that's coming from the thing you're actually trying to record. So say, for example, if I were to be a lot less careful about the way I do my mouth sounds, and then I just have a bunch of like really nasty mouth sounds that go on off, and you get this sort of a sound. That would be a mouth noise. Yeah, kind of had to exaggerate there to make that work. Hopefully there's not mouth noise that I'm not hearing and you are, and you're like, oh, why didn't you take that out? But hopefully it's good now. After that, we got tonal noise, which is something like this. If I were to take my microphone and put it up to here. Okay, that didn't sustain the way I wanted it to, but get the idea. There's like this one sort of sort of sound. That is your tonal noise. It's a one sort of band where the noise is coming from. This was explained through the same sort of thing. Electronic signals giving you tonal noise, but it's from like one little band. And this can also happen due to just like compression or overdrive, something like that. Next up, we got broadband noise, which is just a range of frequencies, which technically that was, but more so it was tonal noise. Broadband noise is this. Yeah. There's your broadband noise. Just like sort of sound. And finally, we've got environmental noise, which to demonstrate that, I'm going to turn off my noise gate. And now you can kind of just hear everything. I'm not even hearing it because I didn't turn it off for myself. Of course, you didn't see me touch anything. The me doing post-production did that. So that's fun for me in post-production, having to work through all that. Sorry, but I'll just edit this later, which means I'll do it in like 3 days. So I should probably just get on it tonight. But I also have to do the episode of the AI Systems podcast because that posts tomorrow. Ooh, so much stress and so much tired, but not enough time. That's a great poem, isn't it? Maybe. Oh no. What has happened? Line check. Okay, good. I don't know what just happened there, but something gave out on logic. That sucks. That means I have to do 2 instances of syncing up my stuff. Anger. Whatever. I probably should have done something that like marked that area, so I'm not just searching for it, but whatever. I'll come across it. Where was I at? That's right. So the next technical ear training that we're going to be doing is identifying like marker points. So essentially we have this like long bit of music, whatnot, little sample thing. And then it's going to give us a short little sample, like, and then that's it. And we have to say, okay, here's the selection that you had. But the issue is with precision as small as 50 milliseconds, 50 milliseconds. That is not particularly fast. That's I'm not even going to show you how fast that is because I don't know if I want to edit that. But it's fast. Actually, it shouldn't be too difficult to do because like you're just thinking about clicks, pops, little transient things that show up, and then just use that as your reference. But that's what I got going on. Probably do it tomorrow. Yep. Tomorrow I'm going to be super busy. I guess briefly we're going to touch on physical science. So physical science, I guess we got some things. We have some diagrams we're doing. So we did a diagram most recently where we took a scene from a film game, whatever. I used the scene from Portal Still Alive where GLaDOS traps you in a room with 3 turrets and they start shooting at you. So I just like in game set up a thing of barrels and cinder blocks and whatnot and got those there. Got rid of 2 of the turrets, kept 1, moved it over, portal there, walked around, started screen recording on my Steam Deck and then had it shoot at me and then it knocked the thing over and then I was like, okay, cool. Most inertia is the barrel because it's got mass and stuff. Least inertia is the bullet because it's got less mass and stuff. But the general momentum of the bullet is kind of like, it's moving, it's vibing, it's got a lot of energy in it. Whereas the barrel has a little bit less because it didn't move as much. It's got mass, but just still not enough. But yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing in this class, to be honest. I think I understand enough of the concepts that I'm not learning anything new. So it's not like exciting, but I'll get through the class. We got some scientific inquiries as well. It's like basically asking a scientific question, a meaningful question about a thing. Like, why does that door make a sound when I open it? Or probably something more like, I don't know. Since the entire door has its mass hinged on this thing, why am I able to open it so easily? Something like that. Like, kind of makes sense to ask, but also there's like an answer that you can think of already. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's like something you legitimately don't know. Like, what are strings made of? Which is kind of a dumb question, but whatever. I don't think there's much else. There was this. I wanted to show you last video log, but I forgot. I guess C28 segment? Yeah, C28 segment. C28 segment. So, C28 segment. I had some mates from my church help out with moving to get to my new apartment here. Oh my goodness. Edwin, mate, if you're watching this, again, thank you. But also, you're mad. You're like actually insane. That was crazy. Let me show you what my friendo brought to assist with moving. Basically, what was a 1-bedroom apartment to a 1-bedroom apartment. It's this massive thing. Mad, isn't it? I seriously appreciated that. That was awesome. That was really cool. That was like a miracle moment of like, whoa, okay. So I guess everything's getting moved today, which it did for the most part. Like tiny little boxes of small things I moved in like the coming days, but like nothing really. Just like cleaning supplies. Everything got moved that day. It was mad. It was absolutely mad. And like, I don't think we even filled a quarter of that truck because it was, of course, massive. That's like a mansion mover. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that because that was pretty fun. Thank you, Edwin. Appreciate you. But C28 stuff, more in line with the YouTube channel. I've got the 4th episode of the AI Systems podcast recorded. The topics, again, were the ones that I mentioned, but I can't say here because I think there's definitely 100% chance getting demonetized, which I'm pretty sure, like I guarantee I'm not getting this video monetized. There's no way the 4th episode gets monetized because Exokui, mate, whew, yeah, you got a spicy topic there that I can't even display on screen. It's not like something illegal. It's just something YouTube doesn't like. It's not pew-pews. It's other things, surprisingly worse than that, worse than a pew-pew. And it's not a boom-boom either. It's different still, but you'll see in the podcast. So I got to edit that and then do a bunch of editing with this video as well, which I'm not going to like, but it is what it is. Yeah. I'm thinking about finding some time to, and I shouldn't say this to be honest, but I'm thinking about trying to find some time to mix the songs in Lost Melodies and Unloved Timbers Volume 2. Because again, this stuff was, I scheduled it for release in October of 2023, and we're in July of 2024. It's been a hot minute. We're almost back at October. In fact, no. I conceived the idea for Lost Melodies and Unloved Timbers Volume 2, July 2023. It's been 1 year since I conceived the idea and it still isn't fully mixed yet. That's bad. That's really bad. Okay. So my deal was basically to mix one song a week. Make it like way less painful, have the whole thing done in 2 months. It's been however many months now anyway. Like what, 6, something like that? More? I don't know. But well, shoot, it's been a year. I told you it's been a year, but like since I started mixing and doing stuff, like, goodness, whatever. I want to get it done. Seriously, I do. But this month, I'm just like, I don't have time. I should have done it last month when I had the time, but I used that time to just, I guess, technically pack, get ready for the move, which is fair, but more so relax, which I think was good for mental health to relax. But now that I can't really relax, I'm a little bit more stressed, which sucks. But again, it is what it is, so I'll deal with it. I don't think I have anything else for you. I know I'm going to remember what the thing I was forgetting now was, but can't think of it now, so. If you enjoyed today's video, you can subscribe, and YouTube will happily give you more content like this from myself and other creators, which is very cool indeed. And if you super enjoyed it quite a bit, you can join. Hit the little blue button that pops up after you hit subscribe, and you will become a control voltage. For just $5 a month, helps the channel tremendously, and you'll get access to the Discord server, early access to videos like this one, behind the scenes content, and more down the line. Very fun perks. If you have any questions or comments, you can of course leave those in the comment section below, and I'll get back to them. I'll post them in the space if they're super cool and interesting. Yeah. We haven't had a whole lot of those recently, so it's been empty for the past, what, 20 video logs? Something like that? I don't know. I'm not actually keeping track, but quite a few. I hope you all take care of yourselves. God be with you. And goodbye, YouTube. Funky transition. Hopefully that was way better than the ones that we typically did. We typically do like really dumb transitions here. We being me, my whole team of me, myself, and I. Yeah. I guess technically I have artificial intelligence systems that help out with this stuff, but I mean, I don't have any action models, just like language models. They do like ideas and stuff, but yeah, okay, bye.